Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Have a lot of fun, putting trouble on the run. Man, you find the old and young, twisting the night away. Yeah, twisting. Everybody's feeling great. They're twisting, they're twisting the night away.
Oh, 10:13 on this. I keep thinking it's Tuesday. It just feels like a Tuesday out there, you know? I don't know. Maybe it's just me and all my problems today.
Feels like a Monday to me.
There you go. It must be just me. Dan, Tom, Melissa, the Eastern Missouri Beekeepers Association in the studio. We were going to talk about your upcoming workshop, but, well, that's all sold out.
Yeah, we sold out just probably last week or so.
That's a good problem to have.
Yes, indeed.
And Dan, you're the president of the Eastern Missouri Beekeepers Association.
Yes, I am.
And what I think is cool is this incorporates, like we were talking about, pretty much the entirety of the St. Louis Metro East, and folks from the Illinois side of the river can be a part of this too, correct?
Most
Absolutely.
definitely. Yeah.
Well, and how have you guys grown? Because we were just talking 1939.
1939 it started, right.
And
exactly.
as Dan made sure to tell me, you have not been a part of
I
the
am
group.
not,
though.
right, exactly.
And Dan, how long is it? When did you start?
I started beekeeping in 2016.
And is there a reason that all three of you became a part of beekeeping? Because I'm just so fascinated. The more and more I really look into it, the benefits of really keeping some hives and really adding to the bee population and keeping them healthy is a big thing. I mean,
Yeah, I became interested in it back in 2006, actually, when the colony collapse disorder thing happened.
Yeah.
And then 2016, so it took me 10 years to finally figure it out. But that's when I started looking at documentaries and reading about it and became interested in it and went to a club meeting and was hooked ever since.
and then they got you to lead the charge.
Oh, well, no, that's only been a couple years.
Only a couple years?
1 year, actually, yeah.
Whole other story.
It's a whole nother story.
Yes, it
It's a whole.
is. Yeah.
Well, and fill me in, Melissa and Tom, how did you all get involved in hives and really being a part of beekeeping?
Well, mine would have been because of my wife.
Good answer.
Right?
Yeah, ours was, I came across a video, I think on Facebook, and it just caught my interest, and then I started watching YouTube videos and finally got him interested, and then we took classes and got hives. You know, the key is really educating yourself before you get bees, so.
Well, and you know what's fun? Whenever I've talked to other beekeepers before, they've made the same comment where some maybe jumped the gun too quick and didn't do that needed research.
Well, the biggest thing would be if you're going to get into beekeeping, get some help.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do this by yourself, and that's the importance of a
Well,
club and a mentor.
And that's one of the things our club offers is if you've taken beginning beekeepers courses, we will hook you up with a mentor to help you out, especially during your first year.
Because it's not easy. I mean, it's an art form, I think, really.
Yeah,
There's a lot of questions and issues that can happen with your hives that a lot of people just may not know how to handle. So
Yeah. And Tom, Melissa, when did you guys become a part of the association?
It wasn't until probably roughly about a year ago, I guess it was. There was a short period of time there right around the COVID era and a little bit beyond that to where the club was more of at a kind of just a standstill.
Yeah.
You know, there was a little bit of a weird time happening there for everybody, right? So at that point in time, it was kind of a little bit of a standstill, and there were some key people that tried to work pretty diligently and hard to get that club back up and running because it does really serve a great purpose to the community there of St. Louis and the surrounding communities thereof. So
100% agree.
Absolutely.
Well, and just talking with all of you, I mean, a lot of clubs right now, no matter what the interest is, it seems like the participation level is really the hardest portion for them is to really grab onto because maybe their members are getting older and they can't find anyone else to kind of come on and join. But it seems like, you get some younger folks in, and you guys really have something special going right now at the Eastern Missouri Beekeepers.
Yeah, we want to get some younger people.
Yeah.
We've got some older folks. Probably one of our members has been doing it for 50 years, you know, and he's an older gentleman, obviously, older than me. So we're looking for some new blood, I guess, to keep things going.
Is there any techniques that maybe that gentleman or gentlewoman who has been doing this for 50 years? Is there any techniques that they've learned back in the day that maybe are still the tried and true that people need to stick with today?
There are. Beekeeping can be very basic,
Yeah.
because there are some things that just don't change, and people try to innovate, and there's a lot of gadgets and ways to accumulate stuff, but it's most of it's just pretty basic beekeeping.
Well, and that's what I think is really fascinating too, because the more times I've talked to folks, it seems like the real formula hasn't changed really when it comes to that just beekeeping aspect, and that's what I think for being a just generations old and centuries old practice to really stay constant is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Really, the biggest thing that's changed in beekeeping probably since when Bob started is pest management, because we have new pests that affect honeybees that did not exist even in the 70s.
Right.
So that's been the biggest issue with honeybees.
Yeah, you need to manage, and the biggest one is the varroa mites. I don't know if you ever heard of those.
No,
Yeah,
sir.
they came to the States probably in 80s, and before that, beekeeping was fairly easy, relatively speaking, to what one has to do now to manage mite control and that sort of thing, because that's probably the biggest thing. That's the biggest problem the bees are facing at this point.
What happens when a bee is infested with those type of mites, if you don't mind me asking?
So varroa is basically like a tick for a bee.
Oh.
And so, like, ticks, though, they suck blood, right?
Right.
Where varroa mites, they feed on the fat bodies of the bee, and they also transmit viruses. So a lot of people, they'll lose their bees over winter. It's because they had sick bees going into winter. So you really need to take control of those mites and make sure your mite population's, taken care of.
I'll even add to that too when she's talking about they carry viruses. So all these viruses that are vectored by these ticks, sort of like pests, those actually are what it isn't so much as tearing down the fat bodies as much as they are transferring those viruses to them. So, keeping those in check is very important, because at the times of dearth or the non-existence of nectars and pollens, those are the times that it's the most hard or most difficult times for those bees to overcome those sort of things. Kind of like you and I, if we're not eating a great steady diet of food, we're probably going to be more susceptible to diseases and certain ailments and things of that nature. And bees are no different.
Well, and I think that's why, because I'm sure if for a novice or somebody that's never seen the effects of those mites before, it's probably kind of hard to tell what's causing the bees maybe to act a certain way or not produce the way you like them to. Is that correct?
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
That kind of goes back to why educating yourself is really important. Joining a club is important. We bring in great speakers every month to help educate people, even, to basically like ongoing education, right? Because there's always something new to learn.
Well, and with this workshop that was coming down the pipeline that sold out now, what goes into an event like that? Because this is a shaboozy of one. I mean, you're constantly learning.
It's a lot of work. We've been planning for a long time.
Luckily, Dan's retired and I stay home because it's been like a full-time job.
I bet.
Yeah.
Well, and as we're doing this with these monthly meetings too, because even though it's sold out for this event, you can still be a part of these monthly meetings whenever they're available.
And
now,
they're free.
They're
available to anybody. Come in. Right?
That's right. And you meet at the DePere Lodge?
DePere Lodge, 1050 DePere Road in DePere, Missouri.
That's a nice drive, though. I mean, it really is a nice drive.
It's 30 minutes from here.
Yep.
So
it's right at 270 in Manchester. Easy to get to.
And how long are those meetings normally?
So the meetings start at 6:30. We usually offer light food and refreshments, and the speaker will start at 7. The meeting ends about 8:30ish, and then we have to be out of the lodge closes at 9.
Right.
So there's usually about a half hour there for socialization and whatnot afterwards.
Yeah.
Really cool. You guys have a moment to stick around?
Yeah.
I got to pay a quick bill here at 10:22 on this Monday morning. We're going to come back with more of the Eastern Missouri Beekeepers. This is great. I'm learning actually a lot. This is very fascinating. We're going to take a quick pause, come back, and we got to figure out how we can be a part of the group. So stay tuned. We'll come right back. Come here after this.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, home, business, and life insurance, our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, Free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
RiverBender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBenderRadio.com.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Welcome back, 1024. Welcome back in the studio, Melissa, Tom, Dan, the Eastern Missouri Beekeepers Association. You know, just talking about the workshop that is sold out, who's coming in and what's going to be a part of that full day of learning?
So we actually lined up a list of great speakers. Some of these guys actually have YouTube channels, starting with, I would probably consider him our keynote, Greg Burns. Greg Burns is actually a semi-homesteader. He's got a farm. He's got a great family. And he is actually in northeast Ohio. His operation is called Nature's Image Farms. Again, he does have a YouTube channel. He's going to be giving a couple of presentations that day. The second person that we have is a gentleman out of Tennessee near, I believe it's called the Duck River, and hence his name, Duck River Honey. His name is...
Nathan Coleman.
Thank you, Nathan Coleman. You always have to rely on my wife.
Good partnership. Good partnership there, you know?
It's a 50-50 thing here, right?
It is.
So Nathan Coleman's coming in. He's going to talk a little bit about the
Marketing
aspects
your
of
honey.
Marketing. And and I'll tell you what, I've listened to this talk before. It's phenomenal. It's great. It's something that every person, regardless whether you're in honey or whatever, it's a great marketing plan. And it applies to somebody that is sells a few items to somebody that scales up to a large operation. Then we have Stanley and Jennifer Evans. They are also out of Tennessee, I believe. They are actually going to talk about funny honey or adulterated honey. That's something that we don't really talk about a lot here in this
I know
country.
what went through your mind first.
Okay, I just had to think about it for a second.
right.
Not that.
When we say funny honey, we're talking about nectar that has been adulterated with a sucrose or sugar. So that's really not honey. Whenever you use sugar or high fructose corn syrup, it is no longer honey. Only whenever it comes from plant nectar can it be considered honey, and 100% solely plant nectar. So they're going to be giving a little bit of a talk about that and reaching out about all the aspects of that, which is pretty interesting. It's something that everybody should consider when they're purchasing honey. Find a good local source, a trusted local source, I will add, that you know a little bit about their operation. Don't be afraid to ask questions to somebody either. If you're going to be purchasing a food that you're putting in your mouth and your body or feeding your family with, there is no reason you shouldn't be able to ask questions to that person. And if somebody wants to be open about it, obviously there's nothing to hide. So you want to make sure that you're getting a true nectar source.
Well, especially because honey's such a superfood. I mean, and really, I mean, it does so much to help, and you can use it for natural remedies. You don't want to get something that you've been basically lied to, because once that sugar or fructose corn syrup's in, I mean, all those benefits are pretty much getting either crossed out or eliminated. A good portion of them are.
100%. Those bees are what are able to interject that that beautiful enzyme that is really good for their bodies, but it's equally as good for our bodies too. So,
well, not only that, but when you're wanting all the beneficial properties of the honey, you need to make sure you're getting a raw honey. So a lot of times when you buy honey in the store, it's not a raw honey. That means that it's been pasteurized. When you heat honey to a certain temperature, it basically kills off all those beneficial things in the honey.
It's called diastase. That's the enzymes that are in honey that the bees add to it.
Wow. Well, and as we're getting back to the Eastern Missouri, because we only have a couple of minutes left, and this has been fun. I mean, I know I tell people 10 minutes or 15, but whenever we have some fun talking, we just got to keep going.
Cool.
I wanted to ask you really about just the group, because, you know, Dan, we've talked, you've been on since 2016, and a year ago took over as the president of the club. Melissa, you know, a couple of years, right? 2000 and...
Just for the last year.
Last year?
Correct.
Why are you surprised with how many people are interested in and really wanting to be involved in beekeeping in general?
Well, like Tom said, with COVID, you know, that screwed things up
big time,
royally for many organizations. And we were, you know, we wanted to, since we've been around since 1939, we didn't want things to just fall off the map. And so we worked hard to bring it back. And I'll admit, I'm a little surprised we did sell out at 200 as fast as we did. It's exciting to see.
You didn't have any doubt. Good answer.
I kept trying to push Dan to add more seats, and he's pushing back on me.
He's the optimist. I'm the.
I get you. I get you.
You have to have somebody with a level head to reel everybody in.
It's a balance, you know.
Dan and I both try to reel him in. It's a job. It's a job.
Well, I wanted to ask you, because I have a couple minutes, about your respective hives. How many hives do you all have, if you don't mind me asking?
They've got more. I've got like 8 in 2 locations. My home in South City and my daughter's home in Afton, Missouri.
Really cool.
Yeah.
We have just under 100.
Hold on, did you say 100?
100, yeah.
That's a lot of bees.
So to start off, our intention was 3. Okay?
Is that a pretty common?
Yeah. You start with 2, and then, maybe I could have a few more. You know,
the good thing about bees is if you manage them correctly, and I'll say we've added a lot to them, but if you manage bees correctly, and now I'll preface it with this: there are a lot of environmental things that affect that. So just because you lose bees does not mean you're a horrible beekeeper. Let me point that out. But if bees are managed correctly, and I think that you do a really good job of keeping them healthy, they will populate. That is naturally what God's design is. They will naturally populate the earth. So
honestly, if you want to get into beekeeping, you got to realize I'm going to have to do something with the bees next year because they'll want to repopulate, and you got to do something with all the honey that they're going to produce.
You're basically thinking a year ahead when you're a beekeeper.
Yeah.
Now that's very interesting. And in the situation, I'm sure that if something happens to a beekeeper and you have to figure out a way to move a hive or start taking care of them, that's a pretty tricky process too, correct? Of moving queens and making sure that they're getting accepted. Is that how you do that when you have to take over a hive?
Yeah, definitely. There's always procedures in place that you have to accommodate because Mother Nature's kind of hardwired into the bees, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we think we're doing a really good job of managing bees, but in return, they're probably managing us. It's just understanding what those certain hardwired cues are and trying to work around those as a beekeeper or trying to manipulate things to work for us.
Really cool. And when we're talking about the Eastern Missouri Beekeepers, we got to talk about a way that you guys can be a part of it because, sold out events, so it's going to be hard to break into the, doors there and find a wristband to put on or whatever you use to identify yourself. But there are monthly meetings, and the next monthly meeting is set in stone for the 13th, correct?
That is correct. February 13th.
No, it's the 9th.
February 9th.
Are you sure?
Wait.
No,
it's the
that's
13th.
our board
Oh
meeting.
my
I
gosh,
think.
let us get our stuff together here.
We got too
We're
many
on
meetings in
that.
February.
Got a lot
You're
going
busy.
on.
You're busy.
So we talked before about my wife keeping me reeled in. I'm reeling her in right now, okay? You all see what's happening,
Yeah, I
right?
do. I saw it.
It is the 13th. That is our meeting that we have. That's on Tuesday the 13th. February the 13th is our next meeting. Anybody is welcome to come. It's free of charge. There'll be light food and refreshments that'll be there. 6:30 is kind of when we get in to get started. The meeting really begins from 7 till roughly 8:30, 8:45. We give 15 minutes-ish for a little bit of light conversation at the end to answer questions and such, and then we have to be out of the building by 9.
And that's at the DePere Lodge, correct?
That's at the DePere Lodge, 1050 DePere Road.
Awesome. Well, folks, I really appreciate your time. This was fun. And anytime you want to come back on and fill us in on more sold-out events,
we'll do that, for sure.
You're seriously more than welcome to.
All right.
At 10:32, we got to take a quick pause. Mary Cordes, Beyond the Shelves, Hainer Library. That happens next, right here on this Monday morning in downtown Albany.